So I just wanted to go back. I mean, you just gave us a whole lot of history just then. A lot of it I didn't know, but some of it I did. And I wanted to go back before Sweetback's Badass Song to 1970, I think. And there was a movie called Watermelon Man that was released within the studio system. And I didn't see it. It's a white man who wakes up black. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And your father had an experience making that movie, because it was your father's movie, where he decided he wanted to take agency of his own film next. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can add to that if you, whenever you're ready for me to jump in. Okay, so when he did, he came back from France because he went to France. Wow. I should share something with you guys. Can I share something with you?
Yeah.
Just hold on a second. Let me just share something with you. All right. This is going to help you. All right.
He's pulled out his phone now.
Yeah, he's pulled out his phone.
He's looking up something for us.
All right.
We're waiting with bated breath in the studio.
Okay.
It's good timing anyway.
Well, for sound anyway.
It's a great time to hold.
Yeah, okay, So recently, I'm a firm believer that you don't live, you can't put life in your work. So periodically, I do life adventures. Mm-hmm. And in my last life adventure, I went to Saigon and met a buddy of mine who's Vietnamese, and he's a fighter and a social worker. And we rented motorcycles, and we drove into Hanoi and up to Da Nang, and traveled all around. And on this trip, we were in Vietnam. And on this trip, I did something I hadn't done in years, and I deliberately did it. I got bored. I let myself stay in the hotel room every now and then and said, no, I'm not going to go out today. I'm just going to stay. I didn't read. I didn't make notes. And I let the sort of stuff that washes out, the commercials, all the dumb shit first. Mm-hmm. And then I actually heard some thoughts that might be mine, because you kind of don't know. You've been processed and packaged and homogenized and fed. So a lot of our thoughts are not necessarily ours. They're sort of, culture think what. So in that I started thinking about my dad and how unique a guy he is, and I thought, well, what would be kind of a kick is to write something for him. So I'll read a little bit of it to you. Let me tell you the saga of Badass Mel. He took the devil's lunch money and charged his ass rent for hell. He put revolution on the screen, made Hollywood his bitch, made niggas feel proud and poor people feel rich. They wouldn't let him at the bottom, so he came in at the top. But when old Sweetback gets started, boy, he ain't gonna stop. Now, the way the colonizer keeps your mind from being free is the misuse of movies, education, religion, and TV. In their movies, Indians got shot, Mexicans were bandits, Asians were houseboys. The colonizer planned it. If black folks were second class, women were frail, everyone marginalized unless you was white male. MVP said, land of the free, home of the brave. I'm sick of them casting us as servants and slaves. Folks want to be the success they see, so we can no longer let them control our imagery. When you buy into the values of someone who would buy and sell you, you become self-destructive and imitate what they do. Melvin understood something deeply profound. Modern-day slaves ain't in chains, they're in debt and kept down. But he wasn't materialistic. He knew real education was the key. He could throw hands when he needed, but it was his mind that kept him free. When Hollywood passed on his movies and publishers turned down his prose, he said, rejection ain't nothing, baby, but opportunity and work clothes. His homie said, it's all for the best. Messing with the man wouldn't be wise. Besides, America ain't really ready for the revolution to be televised. If they ain't ready for me in this raceocracy, I'll go to Europe, move overseas. I'll learn what the OG colonizers do, beat them at their own game. They got books and movies, too. How you gonna afford that, man? You broke with 2 kids and a wife. You could end up in a foreign jail or even lose your life. My wife ain't money hungry, and my kids are resilient. And if they're raised culturally free, souls have a better chance to be brilliant. Melvin taught himself French, became an underground star, knocked the big out them European bigots, and never dropped his cigar. He came back from Europe still black and still proud, but now he had the work experience to live his truth out loud. Hollywood said, what can you do? This HNIC must be crazy. He ain't scared of us, and he damn sure ain't lazy. They said, direct another comedy, make us lots of money, be a credit to your race. You people are naturally funny. His homies said, take that cash, buy a mansion, and ride with a gangster lean. Get a picture of yourself on the cover of Ebony magazine. That's as far as I got.
That's amazing.
But it gives you a little story. So,
well, that's the whole interview.
So it kind of follows the saga
Yes.
of Badass Mel.
He did Watermelon.
He did Watermelon,
and
so
then
he came
went
back.
to Europe.
He came back from Europe.
Yeah.
His film had won at the San Francisco Film Festival in 1968. And Hollywood was embarrassed because the first time he came here, they basically said, we don't need cable car operators, trying to be telling us what to do. And he kept saying, you're not showing people of color the way they want to see themselves. You have us depicted as Motisa class. Motisa, Mokofficer. You've already showing us as the servant class.
I've never heard
right?
Motisa.
Was it Motisa? It was the Motisa. So he kept saying, you're leaving money on the table, and they didn't hear it. So he came back. He did Watermelon Man. It's about a white guy who wakes up black. It's a nightmare. At the end, he wakes up white again. And my dad never shot the ending because he didn't think being black was a nightmare, so he never shot the guy waking up. So they were like, Bell, what's the ending? He's, oh my God, I think I forgot that. And then they wanted to do another comedy, which is where my sort of little story goes.
Yeah.
And he said, look, they just, they took out, Malcolm, they took out Martin, and I just don't think Black America's in a laughing mood. And it's time, the context of colored was, we're colored meant we're just a little different from white. Please recognize our humanity and give us a slice of the American pie. And so it was sort of an asking mode. It was and if you look at cinema during the time of colored, we had to be extra. It's like Colin Powell was so much smarter than Bush. It was so clear. It's like Spock was really the colored guy. Do you know what I mean? He was like kicked Captain Kirk's ass, but he was the guy with the pointy ears. So he was never going to get to kiss the purple chick and do all that. But so I maintained that Captain Kirk was the Colin Powell of his on TV. Do you know what I mean? And so. But Malcolm, so Dr. King had said, freedom by any means, and Malcolm said freedom by any means, and they killed them both. The notion was that, and what Malcolm said was, I think the colonizer's been whipping your ass for 400 years. He's just getting better at it. I don't think power concedes anything without demand. If you think you can sing your way up to some freedom on some We Shall Overcome, God bless you, listen to him, because the alternative is me. Right. And when they killed both Malcolm and Martin, people got tired of the colored thing. Yeah. And that's when the Panthers came out and afros, and people started saying, you cannot fight racism with racism, but you have to recognize your own beauty. Black is beautiful too, not at the expense of yellow or brown or white or anything. It's just beautiful as well. Right. And so you started to see the emergence of the Black Power movement in response to being colored, and no longer saying we want a piece of the little American pie, now saying black and I'm proud. And that revolution had not been televised, had not been put on the silver screen. Yeah. And my dad, about the time of Watermelon Man, said, Black America is not in a laughing mood. I'm going to do a movie about a brother who becomes a revolutionary and goes from a me mentality to a we mentality to a we mentality, with understanding that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Yeah. And so he makes Sweetback, and that becomes that hit, and that changes the whole Hollywood game. So